So, a few years ago, the man who presents, who looks like me, so let's just assume it's me for the rest of this list, okay? Put out a video on the top 15 Pokemon movies. It sucked. But that was 4 years ago. And since that point, I've seen all the movies on that list again, and I've also seen the movies that came out after the original list. With the exception of the 20th movie, which isn't dubbed yet at the time of this video's release, and since I saw these dubbed, yeah, I can't form a proper opinion of it yet. So since the video was awful, and since I have updated opinions on these movies, I figured now would be the time to remake that old list. So this is my top 19, scratch that, 5 Pokemon movies. Why top 5? Because after watching them all, I found 8 shitty movies, 6 mediocre ones, and 5 good ones. So instead of subjecting you to 14 entries of this is bad or this is mediocre, I figured we'd cut to the chase and talk about ones I legitimately liked. Now since I'm only including the movies, that does mean Mewtwo Returns, Mastermind, Mirage Pokemon, Origins, Mega Evolutions Acts 1 through 4, and all those other specials aren't going to be on this list. But the man who presents did review the first 3 mentioned over on his channel, so a link will be in the description if you want to check out his opinions on it. Also, I will only be judging these movies based on their dubs because those were the only versions of these movies that I saw, and because odds are most people watching this list likely know these movies because of the dubbed versions. Now then, let's begin. Seriously, it's better than Let's Rock It. What the fuck kind of zinger is that anyways? Number 5, Pokemon Jirachi Wishmaker. Yeah, it's weird to see that despite some things changing over the years, some things stay the same. Jirachi Wishmaker is still in the top 5, but it's not much higher than, well, number 5. The story is decent, with my only main problems with it coming in the third act, such as Butler's overall plan, May's subplot ending the way that it did, basically coming off as overall useless, and all the build-up for Groudon only to reveal it's a fake, coming off as a disappointment / waste of time. The characters were also decent, my favorites being Max and Jirachi, largely due to their friendship, and Butler and Diana, despite the issues with Butler's plan, while characters like May, Brock, and Team Rocket came off as either forgettable or wasted. The music is also really great in this film, my favorites being the opening song as well as the ending song, Make a Wish. That said, this film isn't flawless. That third act really drags the film down, and the resolution to certain plots and or plans could have been handled a lot better. That and Jirachi's power wasn't really all that special. The most it could do prior to getting hooked up to Butler's machine was teleport stuff, and that probably could have been done by a regular psychic type. Maybe it's just me, but I kinda expected more out of a mystical Pokemon that can grant wishes, and the most I got out of it was when Butler used its power to make the Groudon, and even then, that power came from the comet, not Jirachi, so yeah, that was kinda disappointing. But despite that, I still like this movie. Just not enough to put it any higher. It's a good movie, but it could have been done better. Kinda like that review man who did this movie now that I think about it. Number 4, Pokemon the Movie 2000. This one was honestly hard because both this and Jirachi Wishmaker share similar praise / criticisms with each other. But I end up putting this movie over Jirachi Wishmaker for a reason, so let's get into the similar praises / criticisms first, and then I'll explain why I prefer this one over it. Like the last entry, the story is decent, but the issues come in the third act, mainly with the Ash being the only one who could save the world / chosen one plot point. I honestly don't think this was needed, especially since by this point in the film, he had 2 out of the 3 orbs already, and was planning to go and get the third one regardless, and if anything, the amount of times he did stuff on his own are small in comparison to the amount of times his friends helped him. So yeah, not a fan of that plot point, and due to how important it is to the final act, it ends up hurting the final act of this film more than helps it. That said, the characters are also decent. While I do like Lugia, Slowking, and Team Rocket knocks it out of the park on this one, Misty and Ash were okay, the villain was okay, Melody was okay, and Tracy was incredibly forgettable. And like Jirachi Wishmaker, the music is also good, my favorites being Lugia's song and the opening / ending pieces. So what made me put this above Jirachi Wishmaker when they share similar praises / issues? Because honestly, I think the stakes were raised much higher in this movie than Jirachi's. Sure, the fake Groudon could potentially pose a threat to the world and needed to absorb a lot of Pokemon and humans, but in this movie, we see the effects of the legendary birds fighting firsthand, we see the climates all over the world beginning to change, we see the Pokemon and humans affected by it, we see how devastating this has on the entire world the movie takes place in, and not how devastating it is in one area. Sure, if the fake Groudon was left alone, it could cause damage to the world, but to me, seeing it actually happen is more effective than seeing it happen in one area, and they get potential implications of it affecting the world if not stopped. Yeah, it's a small reason why I put it over Jirachi, but again, it wasn't easy to choose my number 5, and I'm not a fan of ties. So yeah, Pokemon the Movie 2000 was also good, not much I can add here. Though I don't agree with what Mounty said about the villain. Yeah, it's different in comparison to Mewtwo, but different doesn't always mean good, jackass. Number 3, Pokemon the Rise of Darkrai. Ah yes, the 10th movie, and probably what I would consider the last good Pokemon movie in the film series because I found 11 through 19 to be either mediocre or bad. But I digress. The story of this is really good. I like how they executed Darkrai's character arc, portraying him as evil at first before we later realized he was just trying to protect protect the town, which also helped make his sacrifice more effective. Third act was handled really well, especially in comparison to the first two films in this list, since unlike those, this one didn't have many plot issues dragging it down in that act. I like most of the characters in this installment, especially Tonio and Alice. The music was once again great, the best one being Erasion and its remixes, and the animation is also good. The best being near the end when Erasion plays in that tower. Seriously, this looks amazing. So yeah, for the 10th installment in the series, they managed to do a great job. Shame though that after this, movies 11 through 19 took a nosedive in quality. Seriously, I really hope movie 20 is good, because after 8 to 9 years of garbage films, I just want something good. Then again, I also want to get back home and not be stuck here, and that hasn't happened yet, so yeah, life can be a bitch sometimes. Number 2, Pokemon the third movie. This movie legitimately surprised me. At first I thought it would be the weakest film, since the third installment in a film series usually carries a negative stigma, but no, this movie pulled it off. And very well, I might add. And one of those reasons is because of the character, Molly. Unlike other antagonists in this series at the time this movie came out, she's not doing the things that she does in this movie in order to destroy/rule the world and or capture Pokemon. She just wants her family back, and I had no clue that she was doing more harm than good until near the end of the movie. And given how this is a kid who's going through all this, yeah, that's gonna hurt her a lot emotionally and psychologically, and we see that in the prologue. I also like the dark tone of the movie. It's certainly something different from what came before this film, and it also helps make a lot of the serious moments all the more convincing since they don't sugarcoat it for the most part. I also liked most of the characters, one of my favorites being Entei. He was not only pretty damn strong, but he also had a good personality and a great bond with Molly, coming in as a good fill-in for Spencer after his disappearance by the Unknowns, and also showing that like Spencer, he will do anything to protect Molly and make her happy, even sacrificing himself to save everyone. Damn. But the other characters were also pretty good. Ash and his friends were pretty good, Team Rocket was once again pretty fun to watch, and even Delia and Spencer were good in this movie. Sure, I would have liked to see Delia do more in the story, as well as Professor Oak, but they were still good characters nonetheless. Animation was also really good this time around, with some of my favorite moments being the Charizard and Entei fight, the reveal of the Crystal Palace, and the scene at the end of the film. So yeah, Pokemon the third movie, despite being the third installment of a series, managed to not only make it work, but also be superior to the first film and Pokemon the movie 2000. Great job. Too bad one film was just a teeny bit better.
I guess I just don't know what to call you. I was thinking about Monster, but I didn't want to insult the cards.
Number 1, Lucario and the Mystery of Mew. This was pretty damn close because both movies are great, but I chose Lucario's film due to its story, animation, music, character arcs, etc. I like the story for its interesting premise, the execution of the world building, as well as the concept of auras. I like the twists and turns the story takes, and I like the resolution to it all, with Ash and Lucario saving the tree and Mew along with it. The animation was also really good for this film, especially the coloring and CGI, with my favorite scene going to the climax where they have to save the tree and Mew. Another thing I liked was that the music was really amazing in this one. From the remix of Unbeatable to Sir Aaron's music to even the ending theme, We Will Meet Again, there are a lot of tracks that really stand out in this movie and are really good to listen to. Seriously, well done. I also really like the character arcs in this one, specifically Lucario's, because he starts off hating humans due to Sir Aaron imprisoning him, but as the film goes on, we get more and more of his past with Sir Aaron, as well as him bonding with the other humans, eventually culminating in 2 emotional moments where Ash apologizes to Lucario, and another where Lucario is crying after he finds out the true reason why Sir Aaron imprisoned him. Hell, despite him being at odds with Ash in the beginning, he ends up sacrificing himself in the end so that Ash also doesn't die. That's some good character development, and I do appreciate this movie having it, since some of these movies don't have that much. Needless to say, the writers did a good job making me care about this character and these scenes. So yeah, with a great story, characters, animation, music, and great execution of the writing / character arcs, Lucario's film is my favorite Pokemon movie thus far. Who knows if movie 20 will take that slot in the future, but for now, this concludes my list. Thank you all for watching, and next time, it's time to go back to the top 5 Pokemon generations. It's been 5 years, and it's time for a version of the original creator to finally put it to rest. Besides, there was a good amount of points missed from someone else's commentary on it, and it's still a good lesson to those starting up on how not to make a countdown. So yeah, enjoy the sort of 5-year anniversary coming up, and I await the potential comments / responses bitching me out over this and or calling me a ripoff. Peace!